Welcome back to my list of the best Dynasty Warriors characters, in my opinion, from, well, Dynasty Warriors. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be counting down the favorite characters from the Dynasty Warriors series. Now, I've already done this video a while back. Fun fact about this video, I guess, the older video was actually the very first top 10 video that I made for my channel for Dynasty Warriors. So I thought it'd be a great time to go ahead and talk about my favorites once again from the Dynasty Warriors series, as it has changed. With that being said, we're always going to start off with a couple of honorable mentions. And my honorable mentions for this video is going to be, it was hard, okay? I got down to like 15 characters and I had to like eliminate some, and it was very tough. But the two that made my honorable mention, the 11th and 12th position, is most likely going to be Mr. Xu Huang and Sun Ce. So starting off with Xu Huang, he was he's got qualities that I like. All right, he's got that honor, he's got the integrity, the discipline, the humbleness that I like to see in characters, and he's got a really cool design. His moveset's always been really good, except for in the later games. That's why he's not in my top 10, because, I mean, it just got a little too ridiculous with his moveset towards the end. His movesos weren't always that great towards the more modern games, but in the older games, I thought it was really fun to use. So he's there, and then coming in next, my former #1 character, Mr. Sun Ce. It's hard not to like him. It's hard not to include him at least towards the top of my list, because his personality is amazing. I mean, like, you just can't help but root for this guy when you're watching him talk or the way he goes about certain things. Dynasty Warriors 9, it got a bit of a ding to me because of, his weapon style got taken away from him, and I didn't like his ending. It was too bratty, and I just feel like that's not really who Sun Ce is, kind of sulking and pouting about the fact that he's a little conqueror and not the big conqueror, which it's fine. Anyway, he's a good spot for me. If hopefully they go back to the way he was, and of course the Tonfas and all that, he's gonna probably skyrocket back into number 10. But those are my two honorable mentions that I have. With that being said, we've got 10 awesome warriors to count down on my list. Let me know what you guys' favorite characters are down below. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, starting off at number 10, we've got a character from Wu, one of my favorites from the oldest games up until now. I think he's done really well in terms of consistency, and that's going to be Mr. Lu Xun.
I have no intention of losing a battle as personal as this one.
So Lu Xun's coming in at number 10 for me. I think he was in my last one as well. I've always liked Lu Xun. Even though playing some of the older games recently with him, he's got a very small range. Like, it was not fun using him in some of the older games, especially trying to get his best weapon in Dynasty Warriors 5. I'm assuming some of you guys remember that.
Great. No, it's good. Feels good.
Anyway, the character itself, again, consistently has been pretty much the same. His look has pretty much been consistent. His weapon style is either a sword or a double sword, and he's just a really cool character. I like his integration within the Wu forces, all of the relationships that he builds, and kind of how he navigates his way throughout his story within the games. But he's going to be a solid number 10 for me. Lu Xun, beast mode, love him. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
I shall carry on. With your passion and your spirit.
Sticking on the characters of Wu, I believe this is a new addition to my top 10. I don't believe he was in my last one, but he's gonna break into it now, and that's going to be Mr. Badass himself, Zhou Tai.
The enemy will be cut down.
Zhou Tai is going to break my top 10 because he's just always, again, similar to Lu Xun, he's got that consistency. He looks great. His weapon style has been amazing, except for Dynasty Warriors 6, but we're not talking about that. Overall, the character has always had a really good moveset that I can count on. When I picked up Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires with my critic character, his was the weapon style that I went to go play. It was his weapon style that I wanted to use, and that's why he's here in my top 10. He's just got an amazing, amazing moveset. The only gripe I have with the character is that his content is so little. Maybe because he doesn't talk as much, so they don't put him in as many things. They should give him more of a spotlight. Dynasty Warriors 5 was great with that. Do more of that, because it just highlights more of characters who are like Zhou Tai. Quiet, humble. They're just there, do their job, and then maybe get a couple drinks in and call it a night. But for me, Zhou Tai is one of my favorites from the game. He's undeniably one of my most favorite movesets, so I had to include him in my top 10, and that's why he's here at number 9 for me.
That's good stuff.
Alright, next up, coming in at number 8, we have another new member of my top 10, and another character from Wu. Could you guys tell that I used to really like Wu? Anyway, number 8 for me is going to be Mr. Taishi Ce.
Come
Tai Chi shall be the last thing in your way.
That's right, I couldn't keep him out of my top 10 any longer. He was always the character I always had a hard time ranking. He was always a number 11 or number 12, fighting for his spot. No, I like Taishitsu, and I know he doesn't have the best designs in some of the games. Like Dynasty Warriors 7 do look like a transformer. I mean, that was... Dynasty Warriors 6 was like 6 and 7 were like ants, but 3, 4, 5, 8, and 9, the character just looks great. I mean, the twin rods aren't fun at all, but I just like this character. I can't help it. I just like him so much. He's just a character that I'm drawn to play. I always want to, recruit him on my team in the Empires games, or to see what he's about. Again, he's a character that suffers from the Jotai effect as well. Not a lot of content for him. They give him the crappy death in Dynasty Warriors 9, which was not fun to watch. But for the most part, the character has always intrigued me to play. He's always looked cool. His voice acting was one among the best from Dynasty Warriors 4 and 5. But anyway, I can ramble on. I'm not going to. Taishitsu is going to be at number 8 for me. I'm no longer holding him back. Welcome to the top 10, Taishitsu.
I have repaid my debt to Master Sun Se. My place in Wu is no more. Farewell, my friends.
Next up, coming in at number 7, I'm realizing how many Wu characters I got on my list. It's actually kind of insane, because number 7 is Mr. Bellboy himself, Gan Ning.
Today's your lucky day. You get to fight the great Gan Ning.
It's kind of crazy how many Wu characters have made it into my top 10. This is really weird. Anyway, similar to Taishitsu, right? I think he had some really bad designs in 7, and they got back to it in 8. 6 was okay. Of course, the earlier games were amazing. His flaw for me is the weapon style, but the character himself is amazing. I love his interaction. He's got a similar personality, again, to Sun Ce. They're having a good time. They just want to have a good time. They want to fight. He's just one of those guys where you can respect what he does, right? He may not like somebody, but if he's on their team, he's going to defend them, and that's honorable. I like that about Gan Ning. He's one of those guys that's going to stick up for you if you're in trouble, if you're on the same team. Regardless of the past that he has with that person. It could be the worst past ever, right? But he's just so carefree and can just move on from that and just be like, look, man, we're allies now. Like him and Ling Tong's interaction in Dynasty Warriors 5 is just beautifully captures that character. I love his moveset with the River Master. The dual daggers also looks really good for him. The flails and the scythes that he's given is just dragging the character down so hard. But I'm thinking that Koei is going to make the right decision here in the next game. But yeah, another Wu character for me at number 7, and that's all I have to say about that.
Make way. No power can stop Gan Ning.
Would you believe me if I told you that Wu is not my favorite faction? Anyway, coming in at number 6, we have another Wu character making my top 10. I'm just realizing as I'm looking at my list here, how many of these, like half of my list is Wu characters. Number 6 is Mr. Zhou Yu.
Men, this river shall guide us to our future.
His personality is fine. It's not the greatest personality. The reason he's here at number 6, similar to Mr. Jotai earlier on, his weapon style with the staff is unbeatable. It is so fun. I love two-handed weapons, staffs, spears, the pikes. Maces are okay, like Pengdas and Guan Yinping's, but like in terms of like the staff and the agility and the movement that you get with Zhou Yu, like Dynasty Warriors 8 was perfect encapsulation of how beautiful of a weapon that is. The volley on top of his EX attacks were amazing. That's really the main reason that he's here. Not a big fan of the Elder Sword. He wouldn't have been in my top 10 if he still had it, but his staff moveset is one of my favorites. I love it. It's so much fun. I like his relationships as well. They're really fun to watch them kind of develop. There's some things about it I don't like the whole inferiority complex. Like he's got this insecurity when he sees Zhuge Liang, which I don't think he needs, or at least develop it in a way where he overcomes that, because it's Zhou Yu, man. Zhou Yu's badass, and he's among the best when it comes to strategists, but for the most part, Zhou Yu is among my favorite. I swear Wu is not my favorite faction, but from my list, I guess you would think otherwise. Anyway, that's all I have for Mr. Zhou Yu. Coming at number 6 for me, it's mainly because of his weapon style. Absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
And the winds of this age shall lift you high into the heavens.
Now, moving into number 5, breaking the Wu streak. We've got a character from Shu, one of my favorites from when I was a kid up until now, and he's still in my top 10, or at least my top 5. We've got the splendid Ma Chao.
I will protect Tonggate and all of Guangzhong.
That's right, Ma Chao coming in number 5 for me. Should be a no-brainer for most people. I think Ma Chao is a very popular character. He looks really good. His moveset's always been super unique. He's got the overpoweredness on top of the horse for some of the older games. Because of the way he looks, because of the way he fights, I mean, that's going to draw people to want to play him, and then they're going to fall in love with him because he's just super OP. I mean, he's had tons of AoE attack. I mean, he's just a really fun character to use. Similar to Jotai and some of the other characters I already mentioned, he also suffers from lack of content. Like Dynasty Warriors 9, they gave him one cutscene, which was his ending. Like that's all I get from my boy. One cutscene. It's fine though. Regardless, he's going to remain one of my favorites. Hopefully, again, if Dynasty Warriors 10 comes out, they focus more on the individualism. Give those characters more time to shine. Machao, the white man himself, that's not what I meant to say, the white stallion, because he rides a white horse and he has like white armor on sometimes. Regardless, he's number 5 for me. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
Come here! Face me!
Alright, coming in at number 4, he is represented by no kingdom because he represents himself, and that's going to be Mr. Lubu.
Worthless scum! I'll stomp you into a bloody mess!
Lubu coming in at number 4 for me. I'm pretty sure he was lower on my list on the original top 10 video that I did a while back, but I was thinking about the characters, right? We're taking into consideration, really taking into consideration all the knowledge that I've acquired in the last year, right? I'm pretty much a Dynasty Warriors expert at this point. Anyway, everything that I acquired, everything that I know, I played a lot of the Extreme Legends now. I'm starting to expand more into the content and understanding, what the characters have done. Lubu's got a great story in some of the games. Extreme Legends, 8 Extreme Legends, he's got a good story. Dynasty Warriors 6, obviously he's got a really good story. And that's what draws me to characters in the game. Story, and then like their personality, like integrity and humbleness and honorable and all that. Lubu doesn't really have any of those things, but he has a good story. And on top of the good story, he's got a really good moveset. I mean, he's got probably the best moveset, arguably, in the game because it's just overpowering, it's a big AoE. His moveset in the later games are kind of, I would say, a little underwhelming. They're just like one big swings or like energy blast and stuff, which is, it fits, but it's just like, I wish they gave him a little bit, the older games were fine or something different. But for the most part, his regular movesets have always been absolutely insane. He says some iconic lines. His voice acting has always been good, except for. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and move on to my top 3. Lubu's gonna remain one of my favorites for quite some time.
I will fight all and stand victorious!
Next up, coming in at number 3, we got the first character from the Wei Kingdom. He might not be able to see through both eyes, but one eye is enough to land him here in my top 3 as the badass Mr. Xiahou is going to take the number 3 spot on my list.
I won't let you stand in the way of my lord's empire!
And he's going to remain in there. I think Xiahou has got some of the best moments in the Dynasty Warriors series. When it comes to like fleshed out stories, this character has it. Do this with everybody and you're going to have more characters get more moments and just an opportunity to shine and be loved by people. But because Xiahou gets a lot of that, I think that's why he's loved by a lot of characters. He looks great. His moveset's always been fun. He's got one of the best sword movesets in the game. And to me, again, he just has some of the best moments. His stories are always really good. His arc is always cool to see. Never breaking frame unless it's for like specific moments when Cao Cao passes away. Even in Dynasty Warriors 9, Cao Cao's ending was amazing. Xiahou takes the cake with that one. Just absolutely a brilliant cutscene for him. And I just love what he represents, his presence, his aura. I mean, Xiahou is a beast within the games. That's the way they made him. And you can't help but not love him. And that's why he's going to be a top 3 for me.
It's over. Cao Cao.
Next up, coming in at number 2, you can close your eyes as hard as you want, but you're always going to see him in your dreams, and that's going to be Mr. Xiao Yun.
Those who stand in my way do so at their own risk. Prepare yourself.
I have no idea what that meant. I just went with it. Xiao Yun is the cover boy, the poster, the most hyped character in the game. Some people will say he's overhyped, but I don't care. He's among my favorites. He is one of the most fun characters to use. You always want to see what he's going to do. Dynasty Warriors 9 did a very, a disservice to him because of his voice acting, but his cutscenes were awesome. The way he looked was awesome. His weapon style was great. Xiao Yun has always been super fun to play. The older games, he is a treat to play through. Dynasty Warriors 6, he was so much fun, but he just has so much nostalgia wrapped up in this character for me that it's hard for me not to like this character. Dynasty Warriors 10, I'm so excited to see how they introduce him. How do they use him in the opening? Because he's probably going to be in the opening again. And he's just the face of the game, and I absolutely adore him. He is among my favorite characters. He's never going to drop from my top 10. And he's a definite no-brainer for my top 10.
My spear is yours. Xiao Yun will risk his life to protect the land.
And finally, wrapping up the list at number 1 for me. I don't remember his number in my last video, but he is now number 1 because he is just awesome. You can't say this character is not awesome. And that's going to be Mr. Zhang Liao.
You're no match for the strength and skill of Zhang Liao.
Zhang Liao is, to me, what a Dynasty Warrior should be. He is a monster. And the great thing about Zhang Liao, he's a monster, but you wouldn't know unless he's on the battlefield. Because when you're having a conversation with this guy, you can sit down and have a coffee with Zhang Liao and be fine. He seems like one of those kind of guys, and that's what makes him so awesome to me. He's got the humility, the integrity, the honor, the valor that you need as a warrior, but it doesn't inflate him to the point where he has an ego or he thinks he's, to this or to that, and he always shows respect to the people that he fights, even though he's killing them or whatever it may be, right? It's absolutely amazing. I love the way he has a relationship with Lu Bu. He can see this honor in him, and because of that honor, he does not leave him. I mean, that's why Lu Bu respects him as well. I mean, Lu Bu, the greatest warrior of this time, of the game, is giving his nod to Zhang Liao. I mean, you have to be something special to get a nod from him. And then you have He Fei and how crazy that was, and the inspiring presence that Zhang Liao has is undefeated. You can't argue with it. He is among the highest when it comes to honor, integrity, and just being an overall badass warrior from this game. Not even in just the game, the history, the novel. He is a clean badass in all medium forms for Zhang Liao. And for me, that's why he's going to be my #1 character as of right now. His weapon style isn't the greatest. Those twin axes, I think they should go back to Dynasty Warriors 6. The smaller little axes or the little pikes he was using was much better. If they want to go back to the Guandao, that's fine as well. But he is going to be my #1 character right now. He's just a character that I can really get behind. I love watching his story and how he develops into the character that he becomes, his relationships, how does he go from one person to the next, and he's just an awesome character. He's just an awesome character. Anyway, guys, that is all for my video today. My picks for my top 10. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Nice little update. Maybe it'll change after Dynasty Warriors 10 comes out. Who knows? We'll see. But this is currently where my rankings stand. They're probably going to change in another 6 months or so. But I love the game. Love Dynasty Warriors. Love everything about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, definitely appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.